Recording in progress.
And welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 145 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from November 5th, 1994, taped October 3rd, 1994, at the Collette Street Rec Center in Morgantown, North Carolina. My name is Arya. And joining me, as always, is the Jose Altuve to my Carlos Correa. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell are you doing today?
Hey, I know those names now.
I was actually kind of curious if you actually recognize it. So, I don't know how close you're going to be paying. You were paying attention to the game, so
I paid enough
um,
attention for that.
yeah. So the Astros held on to win 7-6 on Tuesday night.
Yeah, the score was 7-5 when we left, so I guess that we left at the right time. Didn't a lot happen after that, apparently.
Nope. Did you enjoy your first baseball game?
It was a pretty fun experience. It's a distinctly American experience. You know, baseball and hot dogs and all that good stuff.
Indeed. And I'm not a giant baseball fan, and I'm also not really a Red Sox fan. But like going to Fenway Park was one of those things on the list to do. It wasn't really an official bucket list thing, but it was that'd be a nice place to visit sometime. And I've been there like
Yeah.
4 or 5 times. And you're actually a better luck charm for Houston than I am for Boston because it took them like 5 tries to win a game with me there.
Yes, when my wife has said that like every time she had ever been to a game, the team she was rooting for lost, so now she thinks that I'm the good luck charm.
There you go. The problem is now she may want to go to more games.
We might go again in June.
Okay, nice. Now, I know the answer to the question because we were talking about it yesterday, but on the show on Tuesday, we were talking about where you going to eat more hot dogs and there will be runs scored in the game. And so 7 plus 6, there were 13 runs scored in the game. Did you eat more or less than 13 hot dogs?
Fewer. I did not eat 14 hot dogs.
Okay. Well, were they at least good hot dogs?
They were very nice hot dogs. Had a nice warm bun. I had 3 hot dogs and I also had nachos and Cracker Jacks and some popcorn.
Nice. The whole American experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So Smoky Mountain Wrestling, episode 145, November 5, 1994, as we've mentioned. Let's go to the intro with JR and Les. I actually never put the end time on this, so this intro could be 45 minutes and 41 seconds, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Let's go to that intro.
Hey everyone, I'm Jim Ross, along with the Hall of Famer Les Thatcher. Thanks for being with us for more great Smoky Mountain action. And last week, what a battle we saw go off the air. We ran out of time, and we did keep our cameras taping. We're going to show you everything that happened in that bloody brawl involving the Rock and Roll Express and the Gangstas in this hour.
Absolutely, and it was almost another complete match after we went off the air, Jim. They seemed to no more get them apart. They broke free and clashed once again. The fans will want to stay tuned to see every minute of that.
It was a real bloodbath, ladies and gentlemen. We'll show you what happened later in this broadcast. Plus, another Beat the Champ confrontation with a new television champion, Bryant Anderson.
That's right. Anderson puts the title on the line against young Shawn Casey in his first defense since becoming TV champion.
And we will have a most unique confrontation segment requested by James E.
That's right. Mr. Cornette wants to sit down with you and Bob Armstrong and an official from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, a member of the board. Ron West will be in attendance on Confrontation today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a great broadcast. We're going to kick it off with tag team action. Let's go up to the ring.
All right, that seems like the right place for it to end. I'm not sure what is the most noteworthy thing about this. A, that we're going to have the exact same main event as last week. And I don't mean we're getting a rematch between Ricky Morton and New Jack. I mean we're re-airing the entire angle from last week's main event as this week's main event. Um, B, is it the fact that we're getting yet another SKC on the show this week? This is the third SKC for those keeping count at home. Um, or C, is it the fact that we are 4 weeks into Confrontation and we've already repeating guests?
Uh, well, I think the most important question is, did you put together who I was referring to when I told you that there was an appearance from a Mid-South regular that you wouldn't have guessed?
I'll be honest, I'd forgotten all about that by the time I watched. Was it Ronnie West?
It was referee turned Smoky Mountain board member Ronnie West.
Let's know when he got appointed to the board. You know, maybe he was the person that replaced Jim Cornette's crooked third guy.
Must have been. Must have been.
Yeah. But Bryant Anderson versus young Shawn Casey, because Bryant is like 50 years old. And yeah, not a noteworthy match on the show this week anyway. Um, but we're in the build to the third annual Thanksgiving Thunder coming up in a few weeks. So
Yeah, coming up this coming 4th of July.
we will talk about it because I might as well just say now. Next week is a fucking I guess it's a recap show, but it's build to Thanksgiving Thunder. There's another fucking show between next week and Thanksgiving Thunder. Because Thanksgiving is November 23rd. So we're gonna have November 12th is gonna be the build to Thanksgiving Thunder, and then November 19th is just gonna be the go home show to Thanksgiving Thunder.
Maybe they just didn't have enough stuff taped.
Uh
Is
I
the
am
next show
90.
from these tapings, or is it from a new taping?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I
I
don't
I
fucking know
accidentally
then.
I actually saw that there is a match on next week's show. I believe there's only one match. It might be the Beat the Champ match, but I did see that there was a match for a fifth taping. So I guess we'll
Okay.
see. Maybe it'll be just like that 6-person intergender tag we're supposed to get over the summer with Tammy, Chris Candido, and Primetime Brian Lee versus whoever they were feuding with, the Rock and Roll Express, and was it
Bambi.
Bambi?
Yeah,
Yes.
Bambi.
Yeah. We're still waiting for that match. Maybe we have to wait for the super fan episode of that show.
Maybe
Um,
we'll have to have
but
another super date with the Rock and Roll Express.
oh god, Brian Logan and the Inferno versus Primetime Brian Lee and Lance Storm. They made a point to say he was the Inferno, and so are we down to only one? Did we fire the second Inferno? And if we did, is this fire or brimstone?
I think what happened was that Brian Logan forgot his Inferno's costume.
Because Brian Logan was the other Inferno. Yeah.
It's usually Brian
Uh,
Logan and Anthony Michaels, and I didn't look, but I assumed the Inferno was Anthony Michaels.
I mean, that makes sense anyway. Um, so we hope to hear from Lance and Brian this week to see if they decide which of them will team with Cactus Jack during the third annual Thanksgiving Thunder. I'm pretty sure they mean Brian Lee, not Brian Logan, but I guess we can't guarantee that. Lance did a crossbody off Brian's shoulders to Inferno for the win. Again, Lee, not Logan. Trey, you weren't here when Brian Lee took on Nature Boy Paul Lee, were you?
No.
I think that was too early in the Smoky Mountain run.
Did you say that
Uh,
Brian Logan got pinned?
I thought Inferno got pinned.
Okay, yeah, that's what I had. I'm sorry, I misheard you.
No. I said Lance jumped off Brian's shoulders, and again, it's Lee, not
Uh,
Logan.
Pronouns, pal. Not pronouns, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. God damn it, pal. Um, so we get a replay of Cactus trying to talk Boo out of his conservatorship from last week. And then we go to outside the ring where Les is with Cactus Jack and the loser of the coin toss, who is now going to be Cactus Jack's partner at Thanksgiving Thunder, primetime Brian Lee.
Has been made between you and Lance Storm.
That's right, Les. I told you last week that Lance and I would get together and we'd do Cactus a favor, and we did. We flipped a coin, and I lost, so I get to be Cactus' partner.
How do you feel about that now, Jack?
I feel pretty good, because 6 years ago, this young man stepped in a wrestling ring with me for his very first match. Young, innocent, his future right out in front of him. To look at him now, dirty, mean, with the sins of the world painted across his face, does my heart proud. Because as much as I hate to go back into the 70s and quote Casey and the Sunshine Band, that's the way, I like it. Because we're going to have to get down. Bang, bang, and get real dirty at Thanksgiving Thunder. We got Boo Bradley, who I've got to knock some sense into, and Chris Candido, who you might as well slap the taste out of, and together I guarantee you we're going to accomplish both goals at Thanksgiving Thunder.
So this is going to be your big Thanksgiving feast, right, Brian?
That's exactly right. Cactus Jack and Primetime together once again.
All right, prime time, Brian Lee and Cactus Jack.
Well,
we'll be right back after this.
We're going to keep it right here. There's Boo Bradley out here. Let's keep it right here if we can. What's he doing out here by himself, and where's Miss Tammy?
Cactus, I just wanted to say sorry for doing that to you last week, because I knew you just wanted to be my friend. And I only have one other friend besides Chris and Tammy.
Who's that?
Boots.
Boots? Boots? Who's Boots?
Who is Boots? That's a good question. Well, here comes Miss Tammy now.
Let's see what exactly... What?
Boo! What did I tell you would happen to Boots if you didn't listen to me? What did I tell you would happen to your precious little kitty, huh?
This is
What
Boots?
did I tell you? What did I tell you?
That's Boots? That's Boots?
That's one thing's for sure. I can see that Boo Bradley's not the only man whose fascination with a pussy has led him astray.
The comments of Cactus Jack. We'll be back.
I can't believe they let him say that. Oh God. So, yep. By the way, this was not the end of Lance Storm. I did look up during the promo. Lance does wrestle on the next TV taping, but this is his penultimate match in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. At least televised penultimate match. He does wrestle D'Lo Brown during the weekend of the third annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour.
Oh, Lance.
Yep. But yeah, it's going to be Cactus Jack and Primetime Brian Lee versus Chris Candido and Boo Bradley. It does make sense because I mean the whole angle the whole time has been Candido and Brian Lee. Just it's a weird ass tag team, Brian Lee and Lance Storm anyway. And it's not like they have like a third guy that they could have plugged in on the heel side to make it a 6-man.
The only thing is just for my weird liking weirdness, I wish we would have gotten the tag team of Lance Storm and Cactus Jack.
It would be a very random ass tag team, that's for sure. So Boo, as you heard, he came out. He only has one other friend, and that's Boots. It's like, who's Boots? And it was, in fact, a little kitty cat. And I'll be honest, until the segment later on, I thought this was a stuffed animal. Because it really wasn't moving when it was in Tammy's arms here.
It was not a stuffed animal. It was a sweet, precious little kitty cat that this fucking thunder cunt, Tammy Fytch. God damn it. Excuse my language. I can we nominate Tammy for the something else hall of Don't You Dare, bitch?
Let's put a pin in it. And at least give it a few weeks.
This is the worst thing that Tammy Fytch has ever done to anyone.
Tammy Fytch threatening to hurt a kitty cat doesn't make me want to drink a bunch of beers and run her over. Uh, I like that. Like at one point they're like, now we know who Boots is. I'm like, we first heard about Boots about 12 seconds before he debuted. So the whole now we know who it is. Like, okay then. Um, but yeah, it's a tag team extravaganza coming up at Thanksgiving Thunder.
Sounds like a
Cactus,
Lulu.
how long does Cactus stick around? Like, I don't think he even goes to the next TV taping. Let me take a look-see here. He may just be in for Thanksgiving Thunder. I I do love that cage match as his hometown listed as Bloomington, Indiana, when like that was like his announced hometown when he was a WWF jobber, and he's much like how Tracy Smothers has never been to Cheyenne, Wyoming. I doubt Mick Foley's been to Bloomington, Indiana.
I believe Mick Foley was born in Bloomington, Indiana, and they moved to Long
Really?
Island when he was very young. I think so.
Oh, I always thought that was just where he was announced from on WWF television at one time. And by the way, he is actually here until the end of the year, so he
Yeah,
makes it
well,
to Christmas chaos.
I knew that because we have a banger of a Cactus Jack Candido match on TV at some point.
Well, I guess I Cactus Jack is going to be on TV a few times. Let's just say that. Um, now that I managed to spoil everything for myself. Um, all right. So after commercial, we go to the Gangstas, who are somewhere getting ready for the Ghetto Street Fight coming up Thanksgiving Thunder.
Thunder. Rock and Roll Express, our kind of match. Ghetto Street Fight. We get to go back to the projects and find stuff, bring stuff, and beat your brains out. You actually had the nerve to sign a match with us? Now we gonna show you what it's like. We gonna have tire irons, car batteries, pumps, anything that we can get. We gonna beat you down. Just think, getting hit upside the head with a car battery. Just think, getting hit upside the head with a brick, a stick, or anything, a little fan, a garbage can. Rick and Robert, your days are numbered. Rock and Roll Express, Thanksgiving Thunder, get ready, Jack, because you're going down. You're going to get stomped in the ground by the hands of the gangsters. D-Lo, bring it all in here, baby. Bring it all in. Go down in the woods and find all kind of stuff. Rick and Robert, get ready. We done took your belts. Now we going to take your pride. We going to show you what it's like to deal with the gangsters. We getting ready to put an end to Rock and Roll Express. D-Lo, find everything you can find. Rock and roll, you're through. It's over with. The gangsters are in the house. And guess what? Now you in our house. Street fight, Thanksgiving Thunder, get ready. Rock and roll is over.
I know they've said this before, but why? Or I know that not that they've said this before, but the answer is obvious. Why is a Ghetto Street Fight the match of the gangsters? Their kind of match.
Do we need
Uh,
geopolitical Bill Watts to explain it to you?
I would love for geopolitical Bill Watts to explain why the black guys kind of match is a Ghetto Street Fight.
By the way, unless I missed or forgot something, this is canonically our first naming of D-Lo.
It is. I noted D-Lo now has a name. D-Lo. Um, like literally, like the whole promo. It's like this was like comparatively speaking, this was a nothing New Jack promo. Like it was so PG, they didn't even put up the warning on the bottom of the screen when he was talking. Like literally the whole promo was D'Lo Brown's in the background moving some plunder from just off screen to on screen.
I thought this was pretty funny.
It was tremendous. By the way, speaking of tremendous, Don Callis is on my screen, and in case anyone wonders why I say tremendous all the time, it's because I stole it from Don when we used to listen to him and Lance doing "Killing the Town,"
Yeah.
and Renee just screamed at MJF. I don't know what she said, but she screamed, and everyone jumped. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, Renee doesn't scream often, so I wonder what that's about.
Nope. Chad Austin versus Boo Bradley with Tammy Fytch and Boots. No word on if Boots has a manager's license. And then Boo won with a top rope splash.
They should bring in an evil counterpart to Boo Bradley named Ye Bradley.
Well, if Smoky Mountain would have made it into 1996, maybe that's what we would have gotten.
If only.
I'm only slightly distracted because my friend Jen is at Dynamite tonight, and she's apparently going to be right on camera. So I keep looking up to waiting for like that shot with the hard camera. But while we're doing that, this week on the Smoky Mountain Hotline, now we've heard some teasers before, and Lord knows when I do that little paragraph, talking about the show, I have quite the little teaser there on the YouTube page. However, I don't even think I could have come up with one this good. Something is happening in Atlanta. Tune in to. Go ahead.
It's a very safe bet that something is happening in Atlanta. It's a very large city with a lot of people.
They don't even say something's happening in WCW, even though that's the implication. Just that something is happening in Atlanta. I read the Observer for the This Week in Wrestling. I don't think there's nothing I would necessarily say something is happening in Atlanta. I would say something is happening in New York that is Atlanta, it eventually becomes Atlanta related, but I would say something's happening in New York. Any thoughts on this banger of a match here between Boo and Chad?
The ECW pre-union?
Yes, but I don't think they were ever in ECW at the same time.
Oh, well, shit. Yeah, wasn't much of a match. It was a minute and a half.
No. So after the match, Darby and Boo go up the aisle when we are suddenly magically whisked away to the desk where JR is with Boo and Tammy. Let's go to them.
As we heard earlier in the broadcast, it will be primetime Brian Lee, a man you fired on occasion, and Cactus Jack at Thanksgiving Thunder against this man and Chris Candido, who will be back here on TV next week.
That's right, Chris Candido will be back next week on TV, and then he'll help me control this idiot, this fool, this bumbling, stupid goof. But until then, Boo Bradley, you stupid idiot. If you want your little kitty to be healthy and to be happy, you better do exactly what I say, because you know what can happen to little kitties like this when somebody's stronger than them. Your precious little kitty. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah, if you want your kitty, if you want this cat, you better do everything I say. Do you understand me? I'm out of here.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what can you say to that? Here.
So it was actually this promo when I made the note saying I want to go get drunk and run her over.
It was the right joke to make, and I applaud it.
Yeah. I get that it's wrestling, but it's like, don't threaten to hurt animals. I'm sorry. It's like it's wrestling, but like at the end of the day, and this is what especially the Vince Russos of the world never understand. Everyone knows wrestling is fake, but wrestling is real, And Tammy Fytch sitting here on TV threatening a cat, you know that she was getting harassed in real life because she was doing this thing with the cat. And
Think so?
I bet, especially in this area, everyone talks about, these Smoky Mountain fans were not incredibly smart, especially wrestling related. So it's like, there's somebody out there who thought that she was really threatening to hurt a cat.
Are you suggesting that there are a lot of real Boo Bradleys in the Smoky Mountain area?
I would never insinuate the intelligence of anybody. I am just quoting people who went to and ran Smoky Mountain wrestling events.
All right.
Any thoughts on this one?
Better not hurt that kitty.
I've got nothing left to lose. So we finally get the plug for the second annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. As yes, it's a weekend loop of shows. I started writing it down and then they took it off the screen too quickly. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. They're going to be in Knoxville Thanksgiving night. They're outside of Atlanta one night. I think they're in Barberville or Paintsville one night. It really doesn't matter. It's usually the exact same card all 4 nights. You cannot afford to miss this show. You know.
Yep. November 24th in Knoxville, November 25th in Paintsville, 26th in Johnson City, and 27th in Marietta.
Now, how far, give or take, is San Antonio from Knoxville?
San Antonio from Knoxville, fucking
Give or take.
15, 20 hours?
Okay, so Jim Cornette definitely flew because he was on Survivor Series in Yokozuna's Corner Thanksgiving Eve in San Antonio.
No, he did not drive. This says 16 hours and 17 minutes, and this is with today.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely not a driving distance. I always think that because I know he didn't do house shows, obviously, while Smoky Mountain was still a thing. But I always think about like his travel when he was still doing WF TV while also doing Smoky Mountain.
I am closer to Knoxville, and I'm a good like 3 or 4 hours this side of San Antonio.
Interesting. All right. Okay, so now it's time for Confrontation with JR. Let's go to Confrontation.
Confrontation, where 2 personalities asked to conduct themselves as gentlemen under penalty of fine or suspension are brought face to face to air their views. Now let's go to this week's Confrontation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I promised, my guests this week, Bruiser Bedlam, Jim Cornette, Smoky Mountain Board member Ron West, and of course, Bob Armstrong. And Mr. Cornette, you requested this meeting. What's on your mind, shall I ask?
Don't give me that look, Jim Ross. I'll tell you what's on my mind and the rest of these idiots. I want assurance before Thanksgiving Thunder takes place that I'm not going to get hornswoggled again, because you see, the last time that Bob Armstrong lost a loser leaves Smoky Mountain Wrestling match, all of a sudden a guy with same body, same old fossilized teeth, same way of talking, a guy named the Bullet with a mask on came to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And I don't like cheaters, and I am here today to talk to a member of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Board of Directors, Ron West, the lost pile cousin.
Hey.
There was Goober, there was Gomer. He's the one that couldn't get the job at the gas station. What I want to know from you, Ronnie West, as a member of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Board of Directors, if Bob Armstrong is defeated at Thanksgiving Thunder by my man Abdullah the Butcher, will he have to leave Smoky Mountain Wrestling entirely? No coming back under a mask, no consternation with the board of directors, no kind of funny business. Him gone. That's what I want to hear from your measly lips.
Jim Cornette, as a member of the board of directors, I have to say one thing. Yes, all these rules will take effect. If Bob Armstrong loses, he will not come back under a mask. He will be gone from Smoky Mountain, and not the commissioner.
Well, good. That's exactly
Wait,
what
I have a question. I'd like to ask a question, too, if I may. Bob, I'm sure you're probably thinking about this. I'd like to ask this question. What if Mr. Armstrong defeats Abdul the Butcher? Will Jim Cornette indeed have to get on his measly hands and knees and crawl across the ring and kiss his feet?
Just like you said, Jim, as if he defeats Abdul the Butcher, yes, you'll cross that ring and kiss the Bullet, Bob Armstrong's feet.
Let me just say one thing. It's going to be a cold day in hell that you ever beat Abdullah the Butcher, because he is a madman, he is a lunatic, he is insane, and he's got your number, and he's going to carve you up just like a Thanksgiving turkey at Thanksgiving Thunder. And besides the carving of the turkey, he's going to beat the stuffing out of you.
You know, words are real cheap. And now we've heard from the board of directors that all stipulations will be followed. So all I got to do is find some way to get around Abdullah the Butcher, and then watch you, Jim Cornette, And Bruiser can watch you too. Crawl across the ring and kiss my feet. Thanksgiving, baby.
Hey.
Maybe you don't realize what kind of trouble you're in, Armstrong, but Abdullah the Butcher's a maniac. He's certifiable, and if he has to get if he has to get locked up for the rest of his life, I don't care, as long as he does you in first.
Boy, you need medical attention. Ladies and gentlemen.
I need a garlic pill.
Oh, you need something. We'll be right back. Look out. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
So did you hear what who Ronnie West said was coming back at Thanksgiving Thunder?
No, I'm sorry. I was fixated on garlic pills.
I forgot to look up what garlic pills, but he said that if Cornette loses, he's gonna have to kiss the Bullet's feet. Why is the Bullet coming back?
Well, the different, Bullet Bob
Okay.
Armstrong and the Bullet. Bob Armstrong is a Bullet, and the Bullet is the Bullet. And if they
Is that
teamed,
what-
they would be a Bullet Club of sorts.
Is that like how I used to be a tax man, but not the tax man?
Okay, has anybody ever made the joke of the Armstrong family being the original Bullet Club before?
I don't think so. You might be the first.
I'm gonna have to-
Congratulations on that.
I'm gonna have to try that out on Twitter later. I don't feel stupid if somebody's made it before.
In all seriousness, though, this was kind of a silly promo, but it's something they had to do. Smoky Mountain goes back on stipulations way too many times, and we've had this go around with Bullet Bob Armstrong, where if he loses, he has to leave the territory, and he just comes back under a mask, or he comes back because, oh no, he didn't really beat Bullet Bob Armstrong. He beat, Robert James or something like that. But yeah. I feel like they had this promo, but it's still kind of silly. So it's like, okay, we really want you to understand he's really going to leave if he loses. It
Well,
also just tells you how much they fucked over stipulations in their own company.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh well, AEW has. I guess this was earlier today, so you probably know, but I'm just seeing it. AEW officially licensed NFL masks for every NFL team.
I saw that. I did not. I didn't really look it up, but I saw the release of it. I actually got the press release. I just deleted it because I don't want to alarm people out there who think that it's something glamorous to be part of the. I'll tell you what I'm tackling in a second. Why it's something glamorous to be part of the wrestling media? It's really not. You get a bunch of useless press releases, um, and the guy who does TNA media constantly tells you could interview some TNA wrestlers, but basically, like you have to be a real legitimate media person, not a fake legitimate media person like myself.
You have to be a real legitimate media person for a fake sport.
Exactly. At least to get on the TNA group anyway.
Yeah.
So the reason why I cackled is because they're in oh my God, Bellevue, Washington, I think tonight. Wherever Buddy Wayne's Academy used to be in Washington. But anyway, for some reason, even though AEW has never refrained from saying the names of their towns that they're in, like how WWE used to, they announced that tonight's show was in Seattle, and somebody in the front row held up a sign that said, "This isn't Seattle," and it made me laugh.
Oh,
By the way, I did see my friend Jen in her pink shirt on the opposite side of the hard camera. It's literally impossible to miss her in a sea of black shirts.
I hope that when we do our podcast from Chicago in July, somebody says it's Hoffman Estates.
Well, there's an idea to bring a sign to G1.
Don't bring signs to G1.
What if I bring like a giant G and bring you a giant 1? And even though we're sitting on opposite sides of the arena, or I don't know because I haven't bought my ticket, even though we're not sitting near each other, we both hold it up. Oh God. That would be tremendous. So yeah, Ronnie West agreed to what Jim Cornette said. I wrote down the way he said Cornette, so I made sure to have to say it. Cornette.
Cornette.
Yes. By the way, do you know that if you call the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Hotline, you can leave a personal message to your favorite Smoky Mountain wrestler? Does that mean I can leave a message to Boots?
I would. Yeah, I would love to know the fucking personal messages that people got.
Tell me you wouldn't pay 99 cents to leave a message for Boots the Cat.
Like I'm guessing that you had more people paying 99 cents to tell Jim Cornette to go fuck himself.
I imagine, yes. Although, again, 99 cents under inflation is about $2.97 today. But I would still totally pay $2.97 to leave a phone message for Boots the Cat. So, Beat the Champ TV champion Bryant Anderson versus this week's SKC. And he's from Cincinnati. And I was inspired by how the speediness of Bryant Anderson while he's wrestling inspired me to pull this bit of audio here and put it on the drop board.
Cincinnati. Cincinnati. Not. Cincinnati. Come on. Don't you realize this is costing me money?
Oh, God. Bryant Anderson is a very slow-moving wrestler.
That's true.
I imagine Ole is yelling at him to go even slower. Do you think Ole lasts more than this one TV taping? I don't see him coming in.
I doubt it. I think he just comes in for the first one.
Yeah. All right. Bryant eventually wins with the armbar. They're my only notes of the match, other than the Cincinnati joke.
Yeah, it was the same match. It was methodical. Is that what they used to call slow, methodical? And then the shoulder breaker and the arm bar. I mean, I don't hate it.
No. And it's no wonder to see how Bryant Anderson goes to a 20-minute time limit draw with Tracy Smothers. He probably just has like the armbar on for 17 minutes before going to the next spot.
It might be the one time in wrestling history that somebody's trying to get a rookie to speed up.
It's like suddenly Vince Russo whining about how wrestling fans just want to see a 60-minute headlock. He might have been watching Bryant Anderson when he was coming up with that rant.
Maybe he watched Bryant Anderson and Tracy Smothers in a no time limit match.
Who do you think would win a match between Bryant Anderson and Greg the Hammer Valentine? Because as we've noted, Bryant is a very slow-moving, methodical wrestler. And as Gorilla Monsoon yelled at me for a decade, Greg Valentine doesn't get warmed up until the 15, 20-minute mark of a match.
Did you hear about the match during the pandemic? I think it was in like a Korakuen Hall with no people. And it was Go Shiozaki and Kazuyuki Fujita for the GHC heavyweight title. And the match went like 58 minutes. And the first like 30 minutes plus were just them staring at each other and moving like so fucking slowly around the ring. They like you kind of barely even realize that they're doing it, but then at one point you realize that they've kind of switched sides.
I do remember that was the very start of the pandemic too.
That's what I'm imagine. That's what I imagined when you said Bryant Anderson versus Greg Valentine.
Did you ever see that Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn 30-minute draw in the UFC?
Yes, I did. That was like the first UFC that I ever saw. Because like the store that I would rent wrestling tapes from also had some UFC tapes. And I don't know why I picked that one, curiosity. So yeah, I did. I saw that fucking boring fight. Yeah. That was the UFC that Dan Severn won.
Well, it wasn't the tournament. That was just the
it was the same card.
Super fight.
It was the same card.
Yeah. The first my local mom and pop show with all the wrestling tapes got two UFCs, UFC 2 and UFC 4, and both with Hoist Gracie winning. And so those were the first two that I ever saw. And then like the next one I saw was like UFC 69 with Matt Serra knocking out George St. Pierre. So,
Yeah.
all right, where were we? Oh yeah, Bryant Anderson. So after we get multiple plugs for the Smoky Mountain Hotline, because this match was sandwiched between Smoky Mountain Hotline commercials, we go to a Bryant promo, and he threatened something that we made jokes about.
Here with the Beat the Champ television champion, Bryant Anderson. He is undefeated here in this Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and another impressive submission victory. But what do you think about no time limit? It can go all night long when you face Tracy Smothers.
Hey, no time limit, that's no problem for me. I tell you, that's one more notch on my belt tonight. Tracy Smothers, you're just going to be another statistic when you get in there.
Ole, I've talked to a lot of guys in the last couple of weeks. They say this kid is a carbon copy of you just a few years ago, going for those submission victories.
I'll do you one even better. As time goes on, everybody gets better. This kid is better than I was, better than Gene was. This is the wrestler of the future. Bryant Anderson is going to be the man that's going to take everything at Smoky Mountain. The TV champion is just a start. I tell you, the guy that we're really looking forward to seeing in this no time limit is Tracy Smothers. Mr. Do Goodall, whatever, shake hands, college wrestler. Well, all that's great. But Bryant has learned one thing, and that is, as an Anderson, you got to punch him in the nose and kick him in the backside, and they'll understand that better than any words that you can even think of. Tracy, get ready, because this Anderson is coming for you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear it. The match has been signed. What a confrontation it will be. And when we come back, we'll see Jim Cornette in training after this.
Okay, so I guess it was JR who threatened that this match could go all night long, all night, all night, all night long.
I think I'd rather watch Tracy Smothers wrestle Rich Swann.
Oh God. Oh God, what was his WWE theme song? Can you handle this? Can you handle this? Can you handle this?
Yes.
Oh God. He's injured, isn't he? Or is he?
I don't know. I thought he was with TNA.
He is with TNA, at least the last time I checked, but he's off, I believe, either for injury or personal reasons. And I guess I'm saying hopefully it's injury because, like, Rich Swann has had a few issues with his life, especially the last few years. Let me see here. What does okay, it literally doesn't say anything, but 12 days after Genesis on Impact, Swann defeated AJ Francis in a no-holds-barred match. So yeah, that he's just not on TV, I guess, for whatever reason right now.
Huh.
Well, good for him that he doesn't have any injuries or any other issues.
Yeah.
Bryant, like we said, he doesn't last long. He's here till January. I am kind of interested in, what if he would have stuck it out? And I know obviously Smoky Mountain goes out of business in a year, but like especially once they go out of business, Jim gets a decent number of them into the WWF even as a tryout. So you wonder. I don't know. It's not like he has the personality that he could have done anything in WWE, but it's like he could have gotten his foot in the door, I guess.
I'm seeing an alternate history where Bryant Anderson did a bunch of battle arts.
I thought you were going to say an alternate history where Bryant Anderson ended up winning King of the Ring after the curtain call.
No, I most assuredly was not going to say that.
Putting on his yellow baseball shirt to go cut the Austin 316 promo.
Oh, God.
The Bryant Anderson era has begun. 2 weeks later, Eric Bischoff shows up on Raw to announce that he bought WWF. Ah, damn it, pal. We don't know what the hell happened, but we had something in Bryant Anderson. Oh God. Jim Cornette is training for Thanksgiving Thunder. Let's go to Jim Cornette for what almost assuredly is going to be an interesting little 4 minutes.
Here on location today where I'm busily training for this big upcoming match with the Dirty White Boy and Ron Wright. Of course, my partner Bruiser Bedlam will be here momentarily. You see, the reason why I'm out here training is because I know I've got to get in shape. I got to get ready for Ron Wright, the living legend, the king of Kingsport, the #1 hillbilly, the guy that I've heard ever since I've been in the East Tennessee area, ever since I've been in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, was the greatest wrestler ever to step foot in a ring. He had the loaded boot, and he had the brass knucks, and he had the toughness and the ability and the intestinal fortitude to defeat anybody down through the years. He and his brother Donnie, the Wright brothers, not the ones that flew the plane now. So I'm out here and I'm working out and I'm training. I'm going to do some calisthenics later on. But right now, I'm waiting on Bruiser Bedlam to bring me dinner for the training table because you see, an athlete needs proper nutrition. An athlete needs proper food. An athlete needs to be well stoked in the furnace so that he can continue on this quest. Bugs out here. Holy mackerel. I hate bugs. But anyway, so Bruiser Bedlam is going to bring the proper carbohydrates, calories, nutrition, protein necessary to fuel this mighty furnace. As a matter of fact, there comes Bruiser now. And hey, Bruiser. All right.
We got it.
Did you get my triple with extra mayo?
Extra mayo
okay.
triple.
Well, I tell you what, you go ahead and tear into some stuff now, and I'll be with you in just a second. Because you see, Ron Wright, besides the training that we're going to be doing, I also want to make sure that you're in good shape. Where are you at, Bruiser? Don't drop that. Please don't drop that. I want to make sure that you're in good shape, Ron Wright. I want to make sure that you've got everything necessary that you need to be in that ring because, you know, it's been a while, Ron, since you've been in the ring. You know, you're kind of up there. As a matter of fact, you know how old Ron Wright is? Well, nobody knows for sure, but they're talking about cutting him in half and counting his rings. I'll tell you how old you are, Ron Wright. You're so old that your birth certificate was written in hieroglyphics. Well, let me tell you something right now, Ron Wright. It's been a long time since you've been in the ring, so you better be prepared. As a matter of fact, I've got a few things for you. Now, we got this Phillips Milk of Magnesia we're going to bring to the ring. It's cherry flavored, effective overnight relief, because believe me, Ron Wright, you're going to need some relief when me and Bruiser Bedlam get on you. And we got you some X-Lax because we know that it's very important for an athlete of your caliber to stay regular, Ron. And we got, oh yeah, we got the Preparation H for those problem times, Ron, that you might encounter when you get in the ring with me and Bruiser Bedlam. You're going to have some problems, and I think this Preparation H may be just what you need. And, of course, we know that you train. We know that you train religiously, and you drink your Geritol every day, Ron. So we're going to bring some Geritol. As a matter of fact, Bruiser, I think we ought to just go ahead and tear into some of this right now.
Oh.
And see what it is. But it's childproof. Oh, heck, we'll do it later. But I know there's something magic about Geritol, Ron Wright, that gives you all that strength and all that power. Now, let me tell you one thing, Ron Wright, and I want you to listen to me and listen to me good. You and that artificial son of yours, the Dirty White Boy. White Boy, if you care anything at all about your so-called father figure, then what you better do is you better send him off to the Sunnydale rest home at Thanksgiving Thunder instead of sticking him in a ring with me. Because if you think, Ron Wright, that belt whipping was something, then you just wait until me and the world's most dangerous wrestler, Bruiser Bedlam, get a hold of you. We're going to knock the Dirty White Boy out of the way. And then we're going to have some fun with you, Ron. Because there's nothing I like better than tearing down a legend. There's nothing I like better than humiliating somebody in front of their home fans, home crowd, and in front of their family. Ask Bob Armstrong. I've done it many times. Ron Wright, you were a big deal a long time ago. But now you're just another sad, stinking old man that's going to get hurt and going to get hurt bad. I'm going to have some blood pressure cuffs and I'm going to have a heart monitor there just to make sure we don't go too far. But believe me, short of that, we'll go as far as we got to go, Ron. Bring your loaded boot. Bring your brother Donnie if you want to. Bring your whole stinking family. Bring the Dirty White Boy.
Bring him.
Ron Wright, you're a sad old man, and you're going to be a lot sadder and a lot unhappier after Thanksgiving Thunder. Me and Bruiser Bedlam, you and a Dirty White Boy, and it's going to be time the day after Thanksgiving Thunder for some sad singing and slow walking for the living legend, the #1 hillbilly, the king of Kingsport, the mighty Ron Wright. Well, I don't know how...
Okay, this was a fucking great promo, and if you thought just listening to it was great, it was even better if you watched it, because Bruiser Bedlam returns with Jim Cornette's lunch and eats it, which, by itself doesn't sound like anything, but like Bruiser Bedlam eating a cheeseburger and drinking a soda, you've never been more entertained by a man eating a cheeseburger and drinking a soda in your life.
As soon as he said something about bringing food, I thought, please be a Wendy's triple. And it was, and it popped me.
A Wendy's triple with extra mayo, which made me
Yeah.
go, ew.
Yeah, I'm not a mayo fan either.
No. I had coworkers who we would regularly get into disagreements about the appropriate amount of mayonnaise to put in tuna fish. To me, you put in just enough to hold it together and to taste it. To them, you have mayo with a side of tuna, which is just disgusting.
I'm a mustard man myself.
I'm not a fan of mustard either. If I had to pick one, I'd rather do mayo, but even then I don't want either.
So if you're eating a burger, what do you put on it?
Catsup.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay.
I'm one of those. Also said catsup instead of ketchup, so that's another reason to smack me. By the way, if Ron Wright isn't taking regular shits after drinking Malcolm Magnesia and X-Lax, he needs to see a doctor at that point.
Well, I'm sure that I'm sure somebody's going to be shitting in that match.
So I actually looked it up because I think we knew this before, but I just it's been so long I didn't even think about it. Do you realize this is Mr. Ron Wright's first match in 12 years?
Is that right?
Yeah. He last wrestled before this on November 30th, 1982, doing the JOB in Tampa, Florida to Brian Blair.
Brian Blair.
That jabroni. He also did some Mid-Atlantic shows this is probably the Flair promotion in Knoxville, because it looks like he did some shows where it was called MACW/SCW in Knoxville in 1981.
The Flair Blackjack Mulligan motion.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah. But he was the NWA Tennessee Brass Knuckles champion. And I would go for that,
Absolutely.
But yeah, this was a great promo. By the way, Bruiser Bedlam, he's a man, so he doesn't drink soda with a straw. He ripped off the lid and threw it down so he could drink out of the cup like a man.
I don't understand it's a fucking straw. Who cares?
I can't even really explain it, because I remember, nowadays it's really who cares. But especially in the 90s, it was somehow feminine to use a straw. I don't get it, but thankfully more and more people are secure in their own masculinity these days.
That's good.
Obviously when you go on social media, there's quite a few who aren't, but enough people are. But from here, JR is at the table with Dirty White Boy and Mr. Ron Wright. Let's go to them now.
How serious Jim Cornette is about Thanksgiving Thunder in this tag team match. I know you two gentlemen are dead serious.
Dead serious is exactly right. It looks like Cornette, he's not taking this serious. If that's called training, I'm a horsewoman. But you see, that's fine and dandy, because what's going to take place Thanksgiving Thunder is I'm going to take Bruiser Bedlam and I'm going to beat that big ugly head until he's unconscious. And then, Jim Cornette, that's going to leave you to this man right here, Mr. Ron Wright. Because you see, Jim, you go around, you're devious, and you're mean, and you're backstabbing. Well, that ain't nothing, baby, because when you want to start talking about mean, nasty, backstabbing, who wrote the rule books? This man right here. If you don't believe me, you ask anybody in professional wrestling who wrote the rule books on breaking the rules. They'll say the legendary Mr. Ron Wright.
That's right. Let me tell you something, Cornette. I've got a lot off of my mind because I've laid for weeks thinking up and scheming with my wicked mind that I've had all of my life just exactly what I'm going to do to you. And let me tell you something, I'm so happy today because I've got it all worked out and figured in a little plan. And let me tell you something, geek, I remember the whipping you give me with the belt, but you think that whipping was bad? You wait till Ron Wright gets done laying the East Tennessee dog whooping on you that you're going to get the night of the Thanksgiving Thunder, brother. I can't wait to get down there and get my tights on and get it on with, brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to happen at Thanksgiving Thunder, and when we come back, that explosive footage involves...
I think we both agree we need highlights from Thanksgiving Thunder 1 week on this show. You know, just to see Mr. Ron Wright doing his thing.
Mr. Ron Wright is the best. I love this. He said the thing, the East Tennessee dog whooping. I love it. The only thing better. Look, if they really wanted to sell out the Coliseum, he should say that he's going to introduce Jim Cornette to the chisel. I don't know. Cornette is such a wrestling nerd. How did they never do anything with the chisel in Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
Not sure. I'll be honest, and I'm almost sad to admit this. I'd never even heard of Ron Wright until the first time I watched a bit of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and that's when I fell in love with this old man who's like 50 something years old. This old man who just needs money for his knee and his hip implants.
We love
He's a great
Mr.
man.
Ron Wright.
Yes. If he were still with us, we would get him on this show in a heartbeat. We would drive down to wherever he actually lived at the time and do it at his house if we needed to.
Absolutely.
By the way, to go back to the beginning of the show, apparently the Darby promo and the MJF promo and what Renee yelled at him, even though they announced this match on the pay-per-view and they plugged it all week long, apparently the match was not official until the first segment of the show, which is kind of weird, but whatever.
Huh. Okay.
So, Dirty White Boy said they're gonna have a rule book about breaking the rules.
Well, you can't break rules if there's no rule book.
But this was a rule book about breaking the rules.
Well, didn't WWE publish rules and how to break them?
I think so, or that may have just been an issue of the magazine. I almost said an episode.
No, it's an actual book. I have it.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it then. I thought it was just an issue of the magazine. But if you are following the rule book to break rules, is that following the rules or breaking the rules?
Yes.
Okay, great. So main event time, Ricky Morton versus New Jack from last week, and as promised, they aired the entire fucking thing. They started from Jack's entrance, and I fast forwarded 4 minutes and still had a bit of time until the end of the show, or until the end of last week's show. And then I'm like, okay, how much extra time is on this fucking brawl that we just had to watch the whole damn thing this week? 1 minute and 50 seconds. And it was more or less exactly just like last week's brawl. Like, I don't know. Like, this wasn't like such a great brawl that I felt like we needed to not only see this again, it's in its entirety. We needed to see the unedited super fan episode of last week's brawl.
You know what would have made it worth it?
What was that?
You know what would have made it worth it?
What would have made it worth it?
If they would have gone to the parking lot.
To the parking lot. I should have gone back to check here, but Jack was bleeding his own blood, and there was a spot of it on Lance's wrist tape. And so I'm like, I should have gone back to see if it was on Lance's wrist tape during the match, that earlier on in the show.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything to add to last week's brawl with the extra bonus deleted 110 seconds?
Just that these guys are fucking worthless at breaking up fights. Like, didn't they used to be bouncers? I know Lance worked as a bouncer. You can't break up a fight.
I mean, I know you might have worked as a bouncer, and I don't want to besmirch Lance, but I always got the feeling like Lance left the actual fight breaking up to like, the other guys, because wasn't Luther one of them too?
Probably.
Like, yeah, if I'm going to have a bouncer break up a fight, I'd rather have Luther do it instead.
Deathmatch legend, Dr. Luther.
Yes. So let's now go to a show closing promo with, we say the Rock and Roll Express, but much like when we say a Gangsta's promo, we just mean New Jack. It's a Ricky Morton promo. And Robert Gibson is going to stare at both Ricky Morton and the camera very angry.
That footage, it was explosive, and I want to tell you something. Our hotline question this week, a lot of folks are wondering, should the Smoky Mountain sanction any more matches involving these two gentlemen and the Gangsters? That's our poll question this week. I know you guys are really excited about Ghetto Street Fight Rules.
That's right, Jim. This is a match that we asked for because the Gangsters have come out here and told everybody they're from Los Angeles, California. All they do is gang bang. They fight. They bust heads. Well, you found out two things about the Rock and Roll Express. One of them is you don't judge a book by its cover, and another one, you don't take kindness for a weakness. Now, coming up at Thanksgiving Thunder, that's right. Ghetto street match. You think this right here was something? By the time we're through with you guys, we're all liable to go to jail, and I don't care nothing about it. Only thing I care about is putting those belts back around our waist that belong to us and all these people out here, and you will come out here to put us down? Well, boys, let me tell you something. You're out here barking up the wrong tree right now. You better get on the phone and you better ask some of these guys you talk to before you come to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You better ask them about the Rock and Roll Express. You see, like they said, you hadn't beat the Rock and Roll Express, and you're not going to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Thanksgiving Thunder, Ghetto Street Fight Rules. We'll tell you more about it right here next week.
So, do you think if they went to prison every night of the Thanksgiving Thunder tour, that Jim Cornette went and paid their bail just so they could go to the next night of the tour?
Sure.
Okay, great. Yeah. So the Gangsters like to gangbang, which, I mean, if they do, I mean, good for them. Whatever you're into, people.
That's their right as American citizens.
Yep. Merkin. I wonder if D'Lo likes to gangbang, or if it's just New Jack and Mustafa.
Well, D'Lo's a very polite and together young man, so I don't know.
There's a reason D'Lo is still here well into next year after the Gangsters leave.
Yeah.
I was telling you about this. For some reason, I decided to click on a random mid-1995 episode of Smoky Mountain just to see how it looked in comparison. And it's like, oh my God, we are going to be dragging our feet to the end. Literally, when we get to this point, we're going to have to literally pause the show and count. And I did look, like it was like the 4th episode of a 5-episode taping. So maybe it did start at 300, like Pro Wrestling History claimed. But by that point, they were down to no more than 25 or 30 people. Like, it just looked depressing as fuck. And they're all on one side of the building, and it's like you couldn't even hide because, like, you're filming entrances. So you're seeing the other sides, and there's nobody anywhere else.
That's rough.
Yes, it is. And it's coming in about 45 episodes from now. In fact, less, because it's 7 months away.
Yeah.
But 145 down, 55 to go. We are almost at the 1-year mark. And in 56 weeks, we're going to be doing Ohio Valley. So there's that.
Yeah, something to look forward to at least.
Yeah, coming May 13th, 2027, the Smoky Mountain Podcasting Network ish. Although we always tend to take a week off, so it'll be closer to like August by the time we get through 55 episodes.
Yeah, probably.
Yep. By the way, I did close the video file instead of going back to see if Lance Storm had blood on his wrist tape. I guess it was just not that important, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm glad you recognized that.
Yep. So what else is happening in the world of wrestling? Macho Man Randy Savage officially left the WWF this week. Now, of course, there's been rumors, and we all know the rumors of Randy Savage's behind-the-scenes proclivities with a member of the McMahon family. However, those rumors didn't come out for a few more years. The story really at the time boiled down to Randy Savage wanted to wrestle, and Vince McMahon was like, "You're 40-something years old. You're too old." Literally, that's what he told him. Like in the mid-90s WWF, when they had no stars on the show, and like we're trotting out, Adam Bomb and Mantar and Duke the Dumpster Droese, Randy Savage was too old to wrestle in the WWF.
So fucking funny when you look at wrestling today.
Yeah. And I mean, let me just see, because I think he was like 41, 42. 1 second here. Randy Savage, date of birth. Yeah, he is a week before his 42nd birthday right now. So yeah. And by the way, in case someone's out there going, "Oh no, man, you're just," the real story is because he fucked Stephanie. Literally, if he fucked Stephanie, Vince wouldn't have gone on Raw and wished Randy Savage the best of luck and, told the world that he was leaving the company. He would have pretended Randy Savage didn't exist like he did for a decade plus.
We'll never know.
Yeah. Also, this was quite the week, because this week was also the famous AAA When Worlds Collide show. And of course, it featured in perhaps the most famous match on the show, even though it wasn't the main event. It was the famous double mask versus double hair match with El Hijo del Santo and Octagon defeating Love Machine and Eddie Guerrero. That's Eddie with a Y, Guerrero. In what turns out to be one of, if not the last match of Art Barr's career, because he dies in a couple weeks. Spoiler alert.
It's the only match from that show I've actually seen.
I saw the whole show because when I had WWE 24/7 way back when, they put it up there, which was weird because it was one of the pay-per-views that they didn't put up on the network when that was a thing.
That is weird.
Yeah. But yeah, I still have to watch that for book 3. I just finished Fall Brawl, so Halloween Havoc is next, then When Worlds Collide. So
all right.
I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about Lucha Libre, especially AAA Mexican history. So it's like I'm really gonna have to do some research in order to write up about that show.
I'm sure you'll do it admirably.
Yes, if only it was about pure wrestling, I could have just had you write it, at least the preamble to it.
Yeah.
You're not as big of a Lucha Libre historian, though, right?
No, maybe I can do the Wrestle Kingdom 14.
I'll at least have you edit that one.
Okay.
So the other big news this week, the November 5th ECW show at the ECW Arena, the main event lasted 2 minutes because this was also a famous match where Chris Benoit hoisted Sabu up, flipped him over, and Sabu landed right on the top of his head. And there were worries that Sabu broke his neck, which of course we find out later he didn't, but that was a worry. And it was on the Benoit DVD. Actually, I forget it was the Benoit DVD or the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD, maybe both. But it's it was nasty. And it's like the fact that he didn't break his neck is just insane.
Well, I remember on ECW on TNN when they would advertise the fucking tapes and stuff, that they would advertise as the match where Chris Benoit broke Sabu's neck. This is 1999.
Yeah. That was also the start of Chris Benoit becoming the Crippler, and they would do these promos of like Benoit just rubbing his hands together. And of course now, like nothing would ever even happen, just how creepy that is. But it's like,
that's so fucking creepy in retrospect.
yep. But you can't say it was not. It was definitely an effective way to get the guy over.
Yeah.
All right. So that's about it for Smoky Mountain. That's all I have to say. Kevin Knight, by the way, still your TNT champion, defeating Claudio Castagnoli.
Oh, but that was a Lulu.
It was. For some reason, there's somebody in the stands dressed like Shark Boy, and a few rows over from him, there's someone dressed like Shark, John Tenta, and I don't, I don't, I, I don't know why.
I hope they're like friends. I hope they planned that.
I hope that they're not like, and they're just like two people who showed up. One is Shark Boy, one is the Shark.
That would be a pretty amazing coincidence.
Yes, because look, they're not sitting next to each other. They're like a good 5 or 6 rows away from one another. But anywho, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of Smoky Mountain. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.
How the fuck is the stop button now? Oh, okay.